Hey guys, Jim here. Time to share with you now another acquisition of mine from the New York Custom Knife Show, and one that I'm particularly very excited about. This is the Brian Tighe Breaker. And what a gorgeous, amazing piece of art this knife is. This is what Brian does so well. Hopefully you've seen the other videos I've done on Brian's work from my other two knives that I own from him. And the feeling that I have for the quality that he does and the artistry that he creates. He's an amazing artist, an amazing knife maker. And I got to tell you, one of the absolute nicest, happiest, most jolly people you will ever meet in your entire life. Just period. Just the way it is. What we're going to get into here is a really special piece. Listen, I was standing at Brian's table. We were kind of chatting it up and talking, and I was just discussing with him how he was the guy that got me into custom knives. Until I owned my Tycoon, I had only ever owned production knives. And I got this only because I had seen a picture of this one, the Joel Perella Brian Tighe Bangle. Now, there were only 10 of these made, and by the time I saw it, they were sold out. I was never going to get one. I was very fortunate this year to have been able to score one. But because I wanted this, I ended up ordering this. My wife got it for me for my 35th birthday. I am now getting ready to turn 40 in about a month and a half. So it's been about 5 years, and after that, obviously, you guys have seen the knives that I purchased. It's an insanity that's gotten out of control, but it's all because of these two knives that I've graduated to the level that I'm at now. So we're going to move these out of the way for the time being. We're going to focus on the beauty of this knife, and this is actually really special because this has the best detent of any Brian Tighe that I have ever flipped. It flips wonderfully. Really does. Super smooth on IKBS. Look what he's done here in the handles. The scalloping, the colors that he's brought out of this. It's almost like some kind of funky seashell, isn't it? How the light just dances across that. It is absolutely breathtaking. And when you pull this out of your pocket, it's a showpiece. Now the blade is done in Damasteel. This is the large rose pattern of the Damasteel. And it is the first knife that Brian has done in a compound grind. Now, again, I have to ask forgiveness because I don't recall if he said this was his first compound grind Damasteel blade or one of his first. I think he said it was his first. So I feel very privileged to actually own that. It doesn't show up as easily as in other steels. The Damasteel material, the pattern that's in here kind of masks it a little bit. Plus the fact that it's all mirror polished also kind of hides the grind as well, but it is there. You can see it, and you most certainly can feel it when you run your fingers over it. Now, Damasteel is pretty much the same thing as Damascus. They're just using a slightly different process and different materials. They're actually using two powder metallurgy stainless steels to create the Damascus here. Whereas you're not always going to get stainless steels in other types of Damascus. Other Damascus, as it's folded, it's usually sevenfold. It's usually done, I don't want to say by hand, because obviously it's a method you would destroy your hands doing, but done by hand in a traditional manner. Where this is done, and again, this is so far technical beyond what I'm capable of understanding or relaying, in some sort of canister with some kind of atomizing process. Listen, I don't understand the whole thing either, but it's more machine done than hand done like a traditional Damascus. However, they claim that it yields a cleaner steel and it yields a stronger steel. Now, I can't say for sure whether that's true or not. That's just coming from the Damasteel website. And they should rightfully so be proud of their material because it is beautiful. It really is a showpiece on whatever you're going to put it on. And you can dictate so many different types of patterns that you want. And I believe also get custom patterns like corporate logos and all kinds of crazy stuff. They can control that. So it's kind of neat. And they also take their standard patterns and do a twist pattern on that as well as another option. So yeah, pretty damn cool, I think. The ergonomics actually beat out my Tycoon by quite a bit. My fingers just fall right into place on this. You've got a recessed area here for your thumb, nice and wide. Goes up to a slight thumb ramp on the blade. Easy one-handed operation, as you see right there with the button lock. And that's another thing that Brian really sticks with. You'll notice that on my Bangle here, I'll go ahead and close that up, open it back up. You've got the button lock there, and even all the way back to my Tycoon right there, same with the button lock. Button locks are very strong, very stable. Some people aren't a fan of it. I can understand why. But it is one of the hardest locks to ever get to fail, period. Another thing I love about this and that will make this a carry piece is the fact that I finally have a Tighe that's tip-up carry. Yay! Neither one of my Tighes are, and that's why I don't even carry this knife anymore. I despise tip-down carry. Now, I make the exception for my Bangle because that was my ultimate dream grail knife. I finally own it, and I'm not just going to let it rot away in a drawer, so I do carry it the way it is. But this one's going to get a lot more pocket time due to the fact that it's a more comfortable carry for me. The finishing work is typical Brian Tighe as far as being perfect. I mean, you almost can't find a flaw in anything that Brian does. And really look around. Watch other people's videos. You'll never hear somebody say, oh, I got a Brian Tighe that wasn't perfect fit and finish. Now, it may not have been the best detent and the strongest flipper or certain other things, but again, his knives are lean more toward the art side of a tactical art knife. But you'll never hear somebody say, oh, the fit and finish wasn't good, or the blade was off center, or this or that. Very rarely hear a single issue with any of Brian's knives, and it's that consistency that holds his place in this industry as being one of the most respected makers that there is. Now, he does use machines a lot more than many other makers do. And I want to make this very clear because somebody actually threw this up at me when we were talking about another maker that relies very heavily on machines. These are still not a fully machined knife. There's one maker out there that, yes, every single solitary part about his knife was machined. He's a very talented machinist, very cool designer, really knows his shit. But I still have a hard time calling him a knife maker because he doesn't grind his blades, period. He machines completely everything, including his blade, and then puts it on a wicked edge. And it's hard to put a label on that and call him a knife maker. And somebody actually said, well, Brian Tighe does the same thing. Nope, no, he doesn't. Still has grinders in his shop. He can sit down without the use of a CNC and grind down this entire frame on his grinder, grind out this blade, not a problem at all. And here, by the way, is a full hand ground blade by Brian Tighe. So you can't say that he's relying only on his precision machinist skills to make a knife. Now, when I talked to Todd Fisher a couple weeks ago, I had the wonderful opportunity to sit down with him and have lunch. It was me, him, and Frank. And we were talking about knife makers and the way the industry has been revolutionized by CNC and by water jet. And he says, you know what? He goes, I can't see why people want to blast a knife maker that will begin his process by using CNC or water jet. He goes, you got to realize you have to still do every single thing that a knife maker can do to make that knife. And on top of that, You must now have the skills of a machinist. You must now be able to write your own CAD files for that CNC. You have to be able to operate that CNC. You have to be able to do routine maintenance on that CNC, on top of also doing what every other knife maker does. So it's actually an even higher degree of skill when you really break it down. I was like, wow, I never really thought of it like that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. But I have all the faith in the world that if I called up Brian tomorrow and said, hey, I got a cool project I want you to do. I don't care if it takes like 2 years to do it. I'm in no hurry. I want a completely hand-built knife from you. I guarantee for the right amount of money, it would be done. Because Brian possesses that skill. But he's also able to take machining into an absolute art form. I mean, just look at this. Look at the fluting. Look at the anodizing. All the intense work that's gone into the making of this knife. I'm still surprised that he doesn't charge more than he does. This should be at least a $1,500 knife in my hands, but it's not. I got paid, it was either $8 or $8.50 for it. Absolutely incredible. And I feel very honored to be able to own this knife and carry this knife. This is another that is not likely to ever leave my collection. Pure beauty. It does have a degree of functionality to it. I don't know how strong this blade is because it is very thin. Look at the pattern along the spine too. Isn't that gorgeous? I just noticed that. Oh my goodness. So it is a rather thin blade. So I don't think I'd be doing any real hard cutting with it. Ooh, it does have a nice degree of sharpness to it as well. I know you could just stare at that Damascus, that Damasteel, all day. Just beautiful patterns. This is a breathtaking knife in person. It really is. And I knew when I was standing there at his table that I had to own it. I'm glad that it was there. All right, that's going to do me for this particular episode. I can't wait till I've actually broken it in and the button lock gets smoother. That's the one and only thing about the button locks that I'm not a fan of. You do have to break it in. You have to lubricate it for the first few times that you're carrying it. Let it dry out, lubricate it again, and let those parts wear in. But really, is that any different than wearing in a titanium frame lock? Probably not. No, probably not. Seems to do so at about the same rate. All right, I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys soon. I have more goodies to get out here to you. I want to thank you all as always for watching. And yes, keep your eye out because at some point soon, we will be talking about that 15,000 subscriber giveaway. Oh, Jimmy, you're going to do it again.